Hi, Tom from Victor Pros Gaming here. Growing up as a child in England pretty much meant there wasn't anything Gundam related when I was younger, be it anime, games, or just any other form of merchandise. It wasn't until one day when my father took me to a comic shop in the next town over that I managed to get my first Gundam model kit. I'd heard of Gundam before and seen it in this comic shop, but never really been that interested in it, and then I saw the Spiegel. This thing looked amazing, and like most fathers would do for their children, he bought me it thinking it would just be a regular model kit. And it was fun. Not long after that, Gundam Wing started airing on Cartoon Network in the UK, and that was my first foray into the anime. After that, we started seeing some of the merchandise over here, including some of the model kits being sold in Argos and some of the action figures being sold in Woolworths. But game-wise, we never really got anything. I mean, the first game I remember getting is Gundam Battle Assault, which we'll be getting to later. Just not today later, another later. This is about something different today. And we did get a few odd games for the PlayStation 2 as well. But the main Gundam game I remember playing as a child is Gundam Side Stories 007. But the main Gundam game I remember playing as a child is Gundam Side Stories 0079 Rise from the Ashes for the Sega Dreamcast. Now I know I just said that we barely got anything in the UK, and this is one of those things that we didn't actually get in the UK as well. And as you can see, I'm not waving a physical copy in my hands for a change. Back then, there were ways to be able to play these games, and one of the first things I remember getting with my Dreamcast was a stack of games, albeit not in cases, and with permanent marker written on them. Don't judge me. So that's what I want to have a look at today. I recently started playing it again because I tried playing Steel Battalion, again another game we'll get to at some point, and I swear to God I will actually get that videotaped. But I started playing Gundam again on the Dreamcast, and it is as good as I remember, and I'm not actually being sarcastic for a change. A lot of these old games that I played from my childhood have those rose-tinted nostalgia glasses on, but for once I actually played a game that I was good at when I was younger, and it's still good today. I know that's my opinion, but let me show you why I think that. Released in August of 1999 in Japan and then in April in 2000 in North America, Gundam Side Story 0079 Rise from the Ashes, or as I'm going to be referring to it from now on as just Ashes to save time, is a first-person action shooting strategy game, kind of, for the Sega Dreamcast. You pilot your mech in first-person controls with the ability of being able to shoot, handle multiple weapons and even use the beam sabers. Walking, crouching, dodging, dashing, jumping, you can even bring up the shield to protect yourself from projectiles. There's even a scope if you want to pick off enemies from a far distance. But you don't only control just your suit, you control your 3 teammates as well, indirectly. By bringing up the menu screen, you have the ability of looking at the map, and then by going to the command menu you can choose individual suits that you then can give out actions to. For a game released back in 1999/2000, this is actually pretty genius. It's not far off what the original Rainbow Six would have done, albeit with giant walking robots. You're able to give them commands such as move or search, or even just attack enemies, and you can even choose the distance of which they engage at, whether it be long, medium or short. Along with all of this, you can customise your loadouts before each mission. There's not that many missions though, only 9, and the difficulty isn't that hard. It can take a bit of time getting used to controls. The Dreamcast pad, as much as I love the console, isn't the greatest when it comes to anything that involves needing 2 sets of sticks, and considering it only has 1, that's a real downside. You move with the D-pad, but you have to look and aim with the left stick, which means you have to take your thumb off one of them. Thankfully you can lock onto targets, and that will save your ass in the long run. The game pits you as a member of White Dingoes in Australia, trying to stop the Xeon from releasing Astaroth, a biological weapon that has the ability of accelerating all the plant life on Earth, therefore creating a massive jungle empire that will be completely uninhabitable. On the face of it, that doesn't actually sound too bad for a Xeon idea for a change. I mean, it sure beats dropping a colony on somewhere, but all you just need is a load of gardeners, so it doesn't really sound that bad. When you think of it like this, in the actual game it depicts it being actually quite horrible. You're briefed before each mission, detailing what you need to get done and what the targets are. You can then head over to the hangar and modify your own and your teammates' Gundams. At the beginning you only have a choice of 2 suits, and to be fair that only expands to 3 apart from the very final mission where you get 1 suit that you can't change out of. And weapon wise as well, you only have the machine gun and a rocket launcher, or if you choose the gun cannon you only have the machine gun. I have a load more weapons here because I've completed the game multiple times and so I've switched it all on. There are certain missions where you do have access though to certain weapons. You do eventually unlock a 3rd mobile suit as well, but to be honest, using it means you have to use dual machine guns and they're not particularly great when it comes to trying to kill anything. There's even a mail service where you can see messages from your teammates. Locations wise, it's not that varied, but to be fair, I mean, what did you expect? There's only so many times you can do mountains, cityscapes. I mean, that's about it, to be honest. I mean, you could technically include the day and night variants of these, but there's not really that much difference between them. And as much as I love the Dreamcast, the game does look good. The desert and rocky areas don't look particularly great, but the city areas do have a bit more polish to them. And the suits themselves do look really good, especially when you get up close to ramming one of the Zaku. Control wise, it's not actually that bad to get used to not being able to look and walk at the same time. As long as you lock onto an enemy, the best thing to do is just either dash straight towards them and smash into them, or just stay away from them and keep strafing left and right and shooting. Beam saber combat is actually really fun as well. Most of these games you would imagine that it just wouldn't work, but this is almost like a rock paper scissors in terms of whether you swipe horizontally, swipe vertically, or whether you block. You can even clash weapons in the middle where you have to mash the button to make sure that you don't get stabbed in the eye. And the missions are pretty varied. I mean, you do have your escort mission, but you also do have other missions where you have to just go out and find the enemy because your radars don't work, or you have to go destroy certain targets before they take off. For such a short game, it does actually have quite a variety to it. And that's about it. There's not really that much to this game. Like I say, it's pretty short at 9 levels, and my fastest completion time for all levels is somewhere in like the 45-50 minute region. I think the top speedrun anyway is about 35 minutes, so it can be done pretty quickly. But to be honest, that's what makes it fun. Trying to do it fast. But at least it's fun. It's not janky, there's not really any bad controls per se. I mean, albeit the controller is the awkward thing, but there are ways around that, we all know this. There isn't any cheap deaths or difficulty spikes, unless you want to play on the hardest difficulty, and even then, it's not too bad. And the only real awkward thing these days is trying to get a physical copy while there's a complete lockdown of every single country in the world. There was a premium disc released only in Japan and only works with the Japanese copy of the game as well. Essentially it's just a battle simulator that allows you to fight against Armorer Ray in his RX-78. Defeating it just gives you some extras for the main game, but to be honest it's not really worth the time or the effort. So thanks to this game my interest in Gundam grew immensely. This is pretty much why I started looking for everything and anything I could get my hands on. So there'll always be a special place in my heart for Ashes. I'm not saying the full title again, I'm not wasting my breath. It's a really good game and I highly recommend you look into it. Compared to some of the later Gundam games, this one's just at least nice, simple and works. So have you ever played Gundam Side Story? Right, it. But have you ever played it? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you didn't like the video, leave a dislike. You can do whatever the hell you want, doesn't really make a change these days, does it? I've been Tom from VPG Gaming, and thank you for watching.